Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the trading stream here at Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be your co-host for today. And what an absolutely fucked up day in the markets. My God, not in crypto. We're actually doing pretty good. I'm talking about, of course, the freaking stock market. My God. The Dow Jones fell. Let me turn on my keypad here. The Dow Jones fell 2,200 points, getting absolutely demolished in a 2-day period. And the VIX up 51%. It's not looking good for Wall Street. Wall Street's been having a rough last couple of days. Get out of here. Let's take a look at the last 5 days, just fallen off a complete cliff. From 42,200 down to 38,300. Massive amounts of value was lost in the markets. You look at the Magnificent Seven, they got absolutely destroyed. In fact, let's go check this out. We'll go to finviz.com. And I used to use this a lot during the stock market. I was trading trading stocks or stock options, actually. That's not what we want to go to. And this thing has so many. Let's go to maps. So this is what the stock market looked like. And all I keep thinking about is that freaking meme of Trump standing in front of this. Are you tired of winning yet? Are you tired of winning? But my friends, this is called an absolute massacre. The tech stocks got destroyed. Nvidia was down 7.3% on the day. Microsoft down 3.5%. Apple got crushed yesterday, got crushed again today. I know Nike was down fairly big. In fact, I would like to take a peek at a Nike stock. Then we'll get into, obviously, crypto. We'll go over some of the trades we were making and any new trades that pop up. Try to make some money on those. So let's go to stocks and let's go to Nike. Now, keep in mind, Nike has 50,000 employees in Vietnam. And this is Nike on the day. But why am I not getting any other info here? Oh, that's why. Because that massive gap down. Okay. So yesterday, Nike gapped down on an open. Okay. And this was no small gap. The gap was a 13% gap. That's how Nike started the day yesterday, was with a gap down of 13%. Then it fell an additional 1.5% to 2%. Today, it shows that it was actually a green day. Why? Well, because Vietnam came out and said, look, we want to get rid of these tariffs. What do we got to do, President Trump? We'll get rid of ours if you get rid of yours. And I just find it hard to believe that Nike had nothing to do with it. They didn't have any sort of sway. Again, 50,000 employees. But either way, this is a very ugly map. And you see Nike out of the consumer cyclical sector, one of like 3 or 4 stocks that were actually in the green today. Google had about it. So just blood across the market. But guess what, guys? Crypto was actually pretty good. Bitcoin gaining 2% on the day. Ethereum gaining 1% on the day. XRP up on the day. BNB, Solana, Doge, the biggest gainer in the top 10. And across the board of the last 24 hours, the crypto markets held up fairly well. And this is actually the chart we were kind of eyeing on the for BTC. This is only a 10-minute. And I kind of briefly shared this on the morning show today, this potential cup and handle pattern forming. And we were looking for an entry at our 83,732 for a potential bounce off of our pending kind of handle part of our cup and handle pattern. It looks like this thing is extending more. And it looks like we flipped, potentially looking to reflip this 83.7 back to support as we lost it on a 10-minute candle close. On the 15-minute, though, we still have some, we're on kind of life support here. 83.70, if we don't hold 83.7, what we can simply do is maybe draw a fib from the bottom here, and let's see where we can settle in. So the 50% retracement level puts us at 83.145, and our golden pocket sits between 82.7 and 82.8. So those will be levels. If we lose 83.7. Look for a rebound around 83.145, and I'll be happy to long BTC there depending on what volume looks like. If we open up Market Cipher B, take a look. Expansion in the money flow. So money flow has been green since Thursday, since yesterday at 8 p.m., and it's been expanding. You do have our stochastic oscillator and the RSI pointing down. We did get a nice anchor trigger wave entry here on Market Cipher B. And just retroactively, you like to just look at these. How did this play out? So we got one anchor wave, trigger wave. You enter here. You actually would have rode that thing up from around 83.2 up to a wick high of around 84.5. That is where BTC stopped that at. And so this pattern here is still in play for us. If we don't catch that support around 83.7, we look for further downside to around 83.1 and look to long that again, depending on what we see with volume. But one thing to note, though, we zoom out to maybe the 45-minute or even the 1 hour. BTC is kind of in a rising channel here, but I want to see how this cup and handle plays out for BTC. And again, looking to long the breakout. Now there was one pattern that we were thinking about front running, which was, I believe it was on Avalanche. Yeah, it was this Avalanche inverse head and shoulders. I think it was on the 4 hour. Yes, it was on the 4 hour. Okay, so this is kind of a case study of why we don't try to front run potential patterns. Is because this happens, right? We had this beautiful inverse head and shoulders coming in, and we kind of plotted and let me get rid of these. Actually, we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of you, and we'll get rid of you as well. And so we were kind of mapping out like, all right, we got the left shoulder, we got the head. And it looks like we're coming in. We bottomed out here. We created a higher low, which is what you want to see in an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? To get that, to kind of form that right shoulder for this pattern to be complete. And we're talking about potentially trying to front run it off this bounce, riding it up to the neckline at around $21.92, exiting our position and seeing what the price does. Are we going to get a straight breakout through the neckline and we make that power move up to our POC, which is sitting right around $25.96 to $26, or are we going to get a breakout retrace and we enter on the retrace? Thankfully, we didn't front run this pattern here, which I don't usually like to front run because it completely fell through, and we actually are currently trading in a symmetrical triangle pattern here on AVAX. This is on the 15-minute. We zoom into the 10-minute as well. As you see, this range is starting to get tight. On the 10-minute on Market Cipher B, we did get a crossover of money flow to the upside, which is great. On the 15-minute, we take a look. We did same thing, expansion of our money flow to the upside. We also had a little bit of an anchor trigger wave here on our momentum waves here on Market Cipher B. And so I expect this thing to break to the upside. And you can see we're seeing large spikes in volume behind these big moves to the upside as we push the upper bounds of the symmetrical triangle pattern. Now, if we do get a break to the upside, the measured move here would be, and of course, nothing is guaranteed. Doesn't mean it's going to actually happen. Depending on where we break out, you're looking at anywhere between $18.84 to around $18.74, which would be a pretty decent trade, although you would have to go a little bit higher leverage to kind of give it that good risk to reward ratio, right? You don't want to risk $1,000 to make $20. You're going to risk $1,000. You want to make at least 10 to 15% profit. That's just my personal opinion on high conviction trades. And again, depending on the kind of leverage you want to put in. But BTC, or this is again AVAX, inverse head and shoulders didn't play out like we wanted it to. But on the lower time frames, Avalanche is actually looking fairly well. If we zoom out to the daily on AVAX, maybe try to work some of the higher time frames, seeing what we're seeing. Let's hide this inverse head and shoulders. And I believe we still have our fixed volume range profile. We do. Let's actually go ahead and get rid of that as well. We'll hide that. We'll just kind of look at a fresh chart for the most part on AVAX. So this 1976 region that I had on here, we did lose that as support for AVAX on the daily time frame here on Market Cipher B. We are seeing the money flow, and this would actually be a beautiful trigger wave. If we get that green dot here, this might be a good entry for AVAX. Pretty low on the volume. We throw on our Ichimoku cloud. Well, actually, the first thing I want to throw on is our 200-day moving average, our moving average ribbon trading well below that. So Any move up, expect to see some resistance sitting right around 30, we'll call it $30 to $32.50. If you are going to enter into a long, as far as a swing trade, maybe not a scalp, but a swing trade, hide your take profit below that last band of our 200-day moving average, which is, again, sitting right under $29.44. Just keep those targets in mind for price. Next thing I want to do is I want to throw on, I'm kind of offset to my computer here. So I got to lean back a little bit. And so the trend, obviously, on the daily is still down. As you can see, almost perfectly coming up and tapping the bottom end of our cloud here as resistance and having a spill off from around 23 to a local bottom around $17.56. If we look at market cipher B again, we are looking at, we're pointing up on the RSI. And so we did get a red dot on the momentum wave for market cipher B. If we get rid of Ichimoku Cloud and we throw on market cipher A, this didn't play out. Now, this was a continuation signal here, and the trend was up. It actually was a false signal because we actually obviously spilled to the downside. And then on the weekly time frame, the super long time frame for AVAX, we kind of had this symmetrical triangle here that broke to the downside. And you can see here on the weekly candles here, this was last week? The 24th, the week of the 24th, we failed on an attempt to get back into this pattern. And so the higher time frame trends are bearish, but the lower time frame, I believe these trends, I think we're going to get a nice break to the upside for AVAX. Immediate resistance right at $19.76. So for me, if I'm looking for an entry in AVAX, I am looking to tap the bottom end of the symmetrical triangle once again, which would put us right around $17.90. Look for a break above and look to exit our position completely at around $19.76, unless something fundamentally changes and we see a crap load of volume come in on this big move. But what we've been seeing is decreasing volume, at least on the 1 hour time frame for AVAX. So with that being said, I feel fairly confident. Everything we're seeing here from our indicators, from price action, from how prices reacted when we've come down and retested, I am more than happy to enter into a long. So we're going to go long at around $17.80. We're just going to go ahead and put that limit order in now. You guys know I like to set it and forget it. Make it super easy. You go to bed. I woke up this morning. My Bitcoin, I put in a Bitcoin trade yesterday. Set my TP at, I think, 83,733. Woke up this morning. That trade closed in the profit. Our ETH position actually filled at $1,766. That's kind of been a cookie cutter trade. Every time ETH gets down there, it might wick just a little bit lower, but we always see a big bounce from ETH. And so with that being said, I completely forgot the entry we talked about was $17, and we'll call it $17.89 for AVAX. That is where we're going to put our limit order. We're actually going to go a little higher on the leverage. We're going to turn it a little bit of degens. We're going to go 15x leverage, $18.79, or excuse me, $17.79. $17.79, and let's do 1,500. Boom, limit order, 15x, isolated, 1779, long on AVAX, and bam. And there is our open order for AVAX to get filled at $17.79. Now we're going to go in there. Also, just in case the market moves fast, we are going to put our take profit just below 1976. We're going to go $19.69 because why not? 69 is always fun, right? So we'll go in here. And the cool thing about this too is you can put in your take profit and stop loss by ROI percentage. So if you're like, look, I want 20% gains, you can go in here, take profit by price, switch it to take profit by ROI, and put in 20%. It'll tell you exactly what price it'll close your position at. But we don't want to do that. We want to go by price. And we're going to go, we said $19.69. And it'll tell us right there. Take profit, $19.69. And we will confirm. So we have that in just in case you're out and about, spending time with family, maybe taking your kids, playing Fortnite with your kids. I saw your comments in there, by the way, guys. He's probably playing Fortnite with his kid. No, I'm actually in studio. Robin doesn't like playing Fortnite, so I can't play Fortnite with him. But we've had a pretty good run here, my friends. And I'm actually curious, before I go into this, I am actually very curious. How many of you watching this show right now are part of our VVIP trading group on Discord? Put a 1 if you are, and if you're not, I would highly recommend you do so. You don't only get trade signals from us and trade setups, but you also get scalp and swing signals along with market analysis from from the top traders on the Buy DeFi platform. You'll get those, plus you get from us, and it doesn't cost you anything. The only thing you got to do is create an account on Buy DeFi with our link, deposit $100 in your own money so you can trade it, and then you're not automatically. You got to go in there and you got to verify your UID. Once you do that, you're in. You're good. You get all the trading support, access, whatever you need to do. If you're a trader, highly recommend you go do so. Again, that Discord link, I'm actually going to put that into the chat here. And by the way, when I go back, I know the last 2 streams I've done it here from the studio, but when I do the stream from my house again, I got some music ready to go. So we'll have that as well. All right. With that being said, I know Mario, you're in there. We love it. Okay, so let's review some of the trades we've made and kind of break this down. We did have one pretty nasty trade that we lost on. That was a Bitcoin long. That was yesterday when Bitcoin, it was yesterday when, no, 2 days ago when Trump had his tariff extravaganza speech. But we had a 16x long on ETH that we cashed out for $239. We had a BTC 15x long trade that filled at 82,618. We closed it at 83.7. Now this played out almost perfectly. Now we didn't catch the entirety of the move to the upside, but it's completely fine. The money we made on it is more than enough. Again, one saying that my coaches always say, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, right? Don't get too greedy. If you get too greedy, if you continue to eat while you're full, you're eventually going to throw up. And in this terms, throwing up with your gains. But this is the setup we had in Discord yesterday. Was this one. So I was looking at the 10-minute on BTC, and I'll kind of show you guys what exactly I was looking at. And it was this right here. And we can make this larger. So I was looking at this pattern unfolding. And I think when I put it in Discord, it was here. It was this candle here. And we can actually go like this. Bam. Okay. So this is what the chart looked like prior to me entering the trade. And I was like, all right, look, we got this descending channel here. This thing is going to break to the upside. But I was watching the price action. I was watching Market Cipher B. I was like, I don't know if it's going to break out now. Maybe it was luck. Maybe it was me watching charts all day long for 12 years. But I was expecting one more move down. And that is why we had our price sitting at our entry price at 82,619. Because going back a few, maybe 15 to 20 candles, you can see price here bounce, bounce on a wick. And we had some confluence here on the bottom end of our trend line, the bottom end of our channel. We saw a really nice bounce and we saw some spike in volume. And so I was like, all right, I want to enter here. If I lose out on this trade and we break out, fine, we'll look for the next trade. And it kind of played out exactly how we expected. Let's speed this sucker up a little bit. Let's go 5x speed. And so price did exactly what we expected. And in fact, we came down here on a wick, perfect, just a picture perfect wick. We got our entry, price started moving up. We saw a little bit of a retracement and we got stopped out right at our 83.7. Now, again, I did mention BTC ended up going a little higher. We got stopped out at around 84.6. And then we came into this shorter term kind of cup and handle pattern that we're seeing play out right now, which I'm curious. You see how we reclaimed 83.7. We had one close and we got a reclaim. See on the 15-minute. Never gave it up on the 15-minute. So actually, this might be a decent entry for a BTC trade. I feel like I'm drinking a beer the way it's glasses are heavy, by the way. And so we did get that bounce off 83.7 like we expected. Let's take a look at Market Cipher B. Did we get any indicators here? Looks like we want to get a crossover on the VWAP, which would be very good. We did get a green dot. We got a red dot there as well. We go out to the 30 minutes. Take a look what the 30 minutes is telling us. Money flow expansion on the 30 minute here. And let's work our way up to maybe the 1 hour. 1 hour got a little bit of a hammer candle here forming on the 1 hour as Bitcoin is looking to reclaim $84,100. Now, on this pattern here, this cup and handle pattern, you can see, even on the 1 hour, it looks pretty good, right? Lots of wicks to the downside. I want to see what price does here because this 84.1 level is a very key level here. It's been support, been resistance. I don't want to enter here and then get stopped at 84.1. There's just not really much to do here, but I would love to come back. So this is the setup I've been looking for BTC. I want to break above 84.1. I want to retest this high we had here. And I want to come back and I want to enter in on a retest of support for BTC at 84.1. So with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and put in that limit order now. And again, now the one thing I will say, if you're maybe new to trading or you've been trading a while, it's just some good piece of advice. Even if you have a set it and forget it trade in, you still want to pay attention to what the charts are telling you. Because if something fundamentally changes, the structure breaks on the lower time frames, or maybe even on the medium to higher time frames, and you see volume start to dip, or you see the volume spike on the moves down, you want to be able to adjust in real time. And so for us, we're going to go limit. We're going to go limit. You know what? Actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to wait. We're going to wait to see what BTC does here. But the one trade I think I might be ready to enter in is going to be a SWE trade. And now, SWE, remember we talked about this 2 days ago. The first of every month, they have around 2.8 to 3% of their total market cap value in coins being released. And a vast majority, in fact, all of those are going to the early contributors and people that invested in the project, right? The VCs, the market makers, the people that have the coins that we assume are going to be coins to be sold versus coins to be hodled. And we talked about, we see a little bit of a dip going into it, and then we see a rally coming out of it, and that is exactly what we've gotten. Again, this is SWE on the 45 minute. Now, I think I was looking on the 30 minute. It was the 30 or the hour? It was the 1 hour for SWE. Okay, so for SWE on the 1 hour, what we saw this W pattern. We essentially have a double bottom. We come in, we make a higher high on the second wave here. This is typically a very bullish pattern that should break to the upside. Now, the one thing I will say, at least on the 1 hour, is we're bumping up against our cloud here. If we zoom into the lower time frames, on the 30 minute, we reclaimed our cloud. On the 45 minute, we are trading within our cloud. And so if you're trading on the 45 minute, this is no man's land. If you're trading on the 1 hour, you wait for a reclaim. And let me hide that there. On the 1 hour, we want to see price move back into our cloud because as of right now, that lower end of that cloud is providing us some important resistance levels here for SWE. But I do expect SWE to get a breakout. And if we zoom in again to the lower time frames, we've already reclaimed our cloud. But as you can see here, we're seeing big moves up in SWE with small consolidations. And these consolidations usually aren't lasting too long. And again, this is only 15 minutes. If you look at market cipher B here, we're seeing expansion in money flow. We're seeing a couple of green dots here, and we're seeing RSI start to approach and get to those overbought levels for SWE. But for SWE, for a long position, our immediate resistance is going to be $2.38.5 for SWE. But I'm curious to see how this pattern plays out for SWE. And again, that dumpage, we saw something similar with Solana where people were afraid that all that Solana that was going to be unlocked, it was all going to get sold off. And usually when a majority of the market goes one way, everything else, or majority of the market thinks something's going to go one way, it does a complete opposite of what everyone's going to think. And in fact, looks like BTC officially broke $84,000. We can zoom into the 1 minute here. We want to be complete degenerates. Pretty nice V-shape recovery on the 1 minute here on BTC. We look at market cipher B. We're about to get a crossover on the money flow. We already got a crossover on the VWAP. We got a crossover on the money flow. You see here, we did get our anchor and trigger wave entry here on the 1 minute for BTC, which if you did, got a nice bounce. 84.1, what are we going to do at 84.1? Could this potentially be an Adam and Eve pattern? We'll talk about that maybe in a little bit. But I do want to take a look at this. This is Nansen. Now, this is Nansen Analytics, and we're looking at chains, and we're looking at volume, okay? We're looking at the percentage change in transactions, and look who is number one, my friends. There's none other than Stellar Lumens. I see in the chat, what DeFi site is Dave using? Buy DeFi. So that is our preferred platform we trade on. We do have a MEXC link in the description if you, for some reason, don't want to do Buy DeFi. And if you sign up for MEXC. In fact, if you do that, let me know and I will give you access to the trading Discord. If you get a MEXC account and you deposit $100, same thing. I'll go manually give you access to it, even if it's not on Buy DeFi for any reason. Let's say you just want to use MEXC, completely fine. Stellar Lumens leads in transaction volume as far as change over the last 7 days, 38% uptick in transactions over the last 7 days. Number 2 is Arbitrum. Then you got Aptos, Sonic, Barachain, and Ronin. So we can take a peek at an XLM chart. This is a chart that I have actually had pretty good luck trading, and on the higher time frame too. What an absolutely drawn out freaking breakout this was, right? I mean, we've had this pattern, we've had this falling wedge pattern here on the XLM chart, and I'll just hide the cloud, just kind of make this as clear as possible. We've had this pattern on here for probably a month and a half to 2 months. And we expected a breakout. We got a breakout. We expected a retest. We kind of got a retest. We had multiple limit long orders in at 25.88, which we got multiple filled, and we've made money on them. And that is where we're consolidating for SWE. And so high time frame trades are usually the big bangers, right? You get those 70, 80, 120% moves, or at least 120% gains. On the daily, though, looking fairly bearish, although we are losing momentum, as you can see here. Our peaks are getting lower, and so we're making essentially lower highs on the momentum waves. So you have a little bit of a bullish divergence on the daily for XLM. This might be an interesting area here for XLM. Whatever happens here, the next move, whether it's up or down, I think is going to be a big one. If it's a move down, you're looking at hitting that 21.2 cent level, hopefully catching support at this trend line. If we make a move up, and I can actually throw on our VRVP here, our volume range profile, and let's go full chart mode here. On the way up, the level I'm looking at is around 35.5 cents, right? We had a ton of volume there. This is where our last swing high was. Again, this happened back on the 2nd of March. So the beginning of March, we had that big move up from essentially that 25.88 level all the way up to a wick high of 37.5 cents. So I'm not looking to capture gains there. I'm looking to capture gains at the close. And again, you're seeing a large volume spike there. Now, if you're super bullish and the markets have turned, what we can always do is put and take 50% profit here, and then wait to get that move up to the next level, which is going to be 43.62 cents. That is where you had a large volume spike for XLM, as you can see here. That is where prices topped that at. That is also where we saw confluence of where our upper end of our trend line was. Now, the down move, again, we're aiming at, we really lose this. The first stop is 23.58, but I think we drop and we hit that. We hit the top end of the trend line here, which again, depending on when it happens, when the bleeding stops, is anywhere between 20 and call it 22.61 cents. But I think this move here is going to be pretty big. And I bet that these bands, yeah, I see these bands. Nice tight bands. And so there's volatility coming for XLM. We just got to figure out, is that volatility going to break us to the upside? Or is that volatility going to break us to the downside? We can work our way down. And again, what I like to do is, if I'm sitting here without a camera on, how would I be going through this in my mind? And I'm trying to portray to you guys so you guys understand what is happening in the mind of David as he's looking through the charts. All right. This is XLM on the 4 hour. Let's take a look at market cipher B. Are we seeing any change in money flow, any change in RSI? Again, we're seeing momentum being lost to the downside, which is good, although our money flow is still expanding to the downside. So that is not good, at least from that indicator standpoint. But you can see here, it wants to do something. It wants to bounce. It lost this 2588 level, reclaimed it, lost it, reclaimed it. So this is a key level for XLM. We zoom into maybe the 1 hour chart, see if we can see any patterns emerge. Ooh. Let's take a peek. Do we have potentially an inverse? Not really. Nah. I was looking at a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern here, right? You have your shoulder, head. This would have been a shoulder that already broke out. If you want to really kind of make this thing look super ugly, that would be a shoulder. But I don't know. It's not enough for me to be like, it's an inverse head and shoulder. Let me go ahead and make an entry on this play here for XLM. So for this one, I'm actually going to work to the lower time frames. I'm going to see what is price doing. You can see we're coming in with higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. This last higher low we had was, again, at that key 2588 level. So this, to me, is a rising channel, a rising wedge that should break to the downside. Although, if we're zooming into market cipher B here, let's see what market cipher B is telling us. Anchor wave, trigger wave, green dot on the VWAP crossover too. So that's actually pretty good. And money flow is about to. Is that the money flow already? Yeah, money flow already crossed to the upside. So that's good. So, this might be a good long trade. And so 2589, I'm actually going to go ahead and put in a limit order on XLM at 2589. All right, XLM, we'll go limit. This one will go 12, isolated, 2589. Margin, let's go 1,000 on this one. All right, isolated 12x, limit order, $1,000, good to cancel, long. All right, so now we have two open orders that we'd like to fill. One, again, just to recap, is going to be an XLM trade at 2589. The second one is an AVAX long, both longs at $17.79. You know what's crazy? If you would have told me the stock market was down 2,000 points, that we'd be longing crypto, but crypto is showing a nice bounce back. And so that's XLM. And then just take a look at the rest of the markets here. Some of the biggest gainers of the day. Meme coin, SPX 9,000 or 6,900 is up 20% on the day. Did anything happen with this one? Let's actually take a look at the chart here. I don't even think I have this on here, but we can take a look. My computer, there we go. We'll go crypto. SPX 6,900. I did have it on here, but it would have taken me probably forever to find it. All right, so let's go to the daily here. Let's see. Is this move a real move or is it a fake move? All right, so high time frame market cipher B. We are about to get a crossover on the money flow. So that red money flow we've had really since the end of February, that saw its peak around the middle of this past month. We are about to get a crossover there. That's on the daily time frame. We zoom into maybe the 8 hour here on SPX 9,000, 6,900. I keep saying 9,000. This is looking pretty good. Decent volume on the day as well for SPX 6,900. But again, if you miss this move already, then it's just really nothing you can do. Now, if you're a holder, this is great. Some key support and resistance level here that I'm seeing for SPX 6,900. I was going to say 9,000 again. One is here at around 56.66 cents. Or if you're in a long, I potentially look to, and this also would come into a potential cup and handle pattern. If we do get up here, get a rejection, start forming that handle part. And my bet would be, if we were to draw our fibs, So the first retracement level we'll be looking at would be around 53.92 cents. That is our 236 Fibonacci level. The other one, I think the more likely is going to be right at that 50%, which is at 48.63 cents. So this is one to keep an eye on. If we have momentum going in, I expect to see SPX 6900 to get some sort of resistance coming in at around 56.66 cents. We wait to see what price does there. If price starts to retrace, we look for this potential cup and handle pattern, and we look to enter, depending on what price does, at our 236 level or potentially at a breakout of around 48.63 cents. So that is just one potential trade setup that we're seeing there. So I'm going to take a peek at the chat here. If you're new, say hello. Shout out Greg Nowak. I got your email, my friend. I responded to you. We hope you can make it out here. Greg, maybe I shouldn't share this. Maybe Greg's out. Anyways, if you want to come visit our studio, feel free to reach out to us. Just send me an email, david@sincitycrypto.io. Love to host you guys in studio. Eugene, what's going on, brother? Said, not sure why that's not the first thing a person does. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, I'm hoping you guys are talking about liking the video. Stellar gets how much activity? How much are people using it? It's not necessarily people are using it, but institutions are using it. And so, yeah. Crow is going to 0. Don't tell Robin. Only place in Vegas I've won was a Golden Nugget. Yeah, I haven't gone there. I already have a Mexi account. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only threshold entry is as you guys know with the trading platforms. So we don't, the last thing we want to do is we want to take money from you guys. We want you guys to keep your money and use that money to make money. And so we get our money from these exchanges. And so the way we make money is if you sign up using our link, we do get a kickback on volume. So that's pretty much it. That comes out of their end, not your end. So that's the only way. And yeah, so instead of, charging people money for trading courses, which nothing wrong with that. It's just not really what we're looking to do. We'd just rather you keep your money. We'll take money from these exchanges that have a shitload more than you. And so that's kind of our thing. Guys, I think that'll do it for the show today. Rob and I are actually going shopping. Yay, I'm excited to spend money. We are so excited for that studio in the back. Look at that, I said shopping. And my boy over here. What's up, Big Rob? How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. How you doing?
It says shopping. I saw your ears perk up.
Yeah. Gotta make that money, baby.
Yeah. I was just letting him know, cut a little short today. Head over to the furniture store.
Good turnout.
Yeah, pretty good turnout. Yeah, and then make sure you guys subscribe. Tomorrow, I'm not sure when I'll be going live tomorrow. Weekends are always iffy. I try to be a present dad in my kids' lives, and so they have soccer games and stuff, and so try to balance giving you guys a show, but also, being there for my kids. And so not sure tomorrow, but that's why just make sure you subscribe and have your notification bell on. That way it'll tell you 30 minutes before I'm going live. You have time to prepare and get into it. And Sunday for the Crypto and Chill show, that is still going to be happening. Again, timing, no idea. Make sure you subscribe. Join our Discord. I'm going to be doing probably a $250 giveaway on Monday. And if you're watching here, you got the inside track here. There's going to be a couple of things you got to do, but the number one thing is going to be you got to be part of our Discord. Just be in the Discord, period. Whether you're part of the trading group or not, be in the Discord. I'm going to do a $250 giveaway. I'll announce it over the weekend. We'll do it live on the show on Monday. And so all you got to do is be part of our Discord. Yeah, love you guys very much. I will see you guys tomorrow. And until then, guys, have a great weekend. See you tomorrow. Peace.